We're making ice cream now, and we're making, who said yay? And nothing like ice cream. And as you know, and you're tired of hearing, I wrote a book of the original recipes that started our store off. I have 6 with me if anybody wants one. But anyway, the recipe for this, what we're making, is in here. I spoke to Steve a couple of days ago, and I said, well, how about if I make blah, blah, and blah? He said, well, you know, it's getting to be Halloween, so why not make some scary flavors or whatever? So I looked up in my book, and of course, we still sell it. It's still in my store today, 10 years later, Frankenstein. It was called that then, it's called that now. The difference is, years ago, they didn't have chocolate ice cream mix. This is chocolate ice cream mix. It's 10% chocolate, 10% butterfat chocolate. Most of the time, it's no good. But I use a dairy that produces very good chocolate mix. So the original recipe calls for white mix, which they mistakenly say is vanilla mix, but it's white mix, 10% white, and I would add 4 pounds of Ghirardelli chocolate powder, and it would come to be chocolate. So that's what's in the book, but now that we have this, we're going to use this. This is a 24-quart machine, brand new, because he's always got me working on a 12-quart, so we would have to divide this in half. But now that it's 24-quart, these are 2.5 gallons. These are 10 quarts, these bladders. That's pretty universal, whether you're in Canada or anywhere that you get bladders. They come 2 bladders to a box, a case they call it, 2 bladders. So you're getting 5 gallons per box. And the price is pretty much the same everywhere. I found it varies $5, so it's no big deal. So the recipe today, we're going to start with 10 quarts of this in the machine, all right? Don't ask me a question for the next 30 seconds, because we'll be cleaning up. I just asked you not to do that. Go ahead, before I open it.
What's that model number for that machine, the one that you're getting ready to use?
I don't know.
It's not I know that one's a CB350.
That's a 24.
This is an NW24 IOC-1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yoda.
Thank you. Now, what's the population of Rhode Island in September?
6,800.
We have our own Siri here. All right, so as we know how to handle this, right? You lift it up, choke the neck, take the top off, and what do we do now? We grip it. We don't lay it in our hands. We actually grip it so that we have control. And then what we're going to do is pour it in here. Boom! Most of it goes in there. It's funny, at the store I never drop a drip. Drip a drop. How many drips in a drop, Yoda?
No idea.
Boy, this is great. Imagine taking a final exam in this room. Tell me what this is. All right. What I've got here is a tray of fresh homemade brownies with fudge on top. And this is Hershey's syrup. And these are Hershey's mini chips. So that's what we'll do. We're going to do so a little different this time, but what we'll start with is adding the chips. We'll start the machine on. We'll put in the chips. That's another good thing. Big wide neck there. You can throw anything in there. And then we'll put the brownies in. Never mind, I'll get it. Whoop.
Now, with any other machine, you have to add this all at the end because the opening is just a little slit. And it says in the instruction book, they'll void your warranty if you put anything into the machine. But if you want to get a great flavor, for every particle of dairy and a particle of flavor next to it, it goes in the machine. So that gives me what I call my fruit flavor. I blindfold it, I taste it, yep, that's the ice cream. But we also eat with our eyes. So I usually take the second half of the ingredients. If I'm doing strawberries, 1 quart into the machine, the second quart I keep in advance. Every particle of dairy has a particle of strawberry next to it. And then as it's coming out, I'll shake in, I open up the gate part way, slow it down a little bit, and I shake in my strawberries. So now I've got fruit flavor and fruit identity. And that makes just an incredible ice cream. That's the way Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry began, and then they got up to the 250,000 mark, and they went over to what's called a continuous freezer, which is a $1 million long, narrow tube that makes 1,000 gallons plus an hour. So there is a difference between homemade ice cream and commercial ice cream, and it's basically all in the application of the flavor.
We should add a little vanilla.
Sure, it's mine.
So, right. Oh, like you paid for it. So we'll add, I usually, my ratio is 1 ounce per quart. So we have 10 quarts in there, so quick, how many ounces? 10 ounces. Okay, good.
You're killing me.
That's 10 ounces? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, a friend of mine just estimated that in my store, which is only open 4 hours a night, 6 nights a week, I have made 58,000 gallons of ice cream. So that's 10 ounces. Now, sometimes I throw this in now, but for everybody here, because you're special, we'll squirt it in as it's coming out. Give it a little look to it. Okay? Is this on? Yeah. Okay. All right, we'll turn it on.
You want me to hold up a sign that says applause?
Or are you sleeping? Oh, that's a good idea. I can use this to give Mike, he's having a party tonight. I can use these to give him some ice cream.
Okay.
All right, so that's 1, 2, 3. We should get 5 out of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, any questions about Frankenstein? Yes, sir. What? No, we're making Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and then vampire milkshakes. Huh? Vampire
And I'm
milkshake.
I'm making pumpkin pies. And what was my other one? Oh, the banana sorbet. Yes.
What's the shelf life of this ice cream that we're making today?
When you say shelf life, do you mean in a deep freeze, in the freezer, on the counter, in your stomach? What do you mean?
In a deep freeze.
In a deep freeze, 6 months, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it gets rock hard.
And then how about selling? I mean, what do you suggest? By the time, what's the longest you should really keep ice cream in?
I make ice cream 3 days a week.
I know you do, and you go over. Let's just say, worst case scenario, you're starting a store, it's not that busy. When should you throw it away or get rid of it or give it to your friends and make new stuff
Throw it
so you
away.
keep it? You know what I'm saying? Give it to your friends.
Give it to my friend.
Yes, and get a new batch in there so that you've got a good product going out.
That's not happening. The ice cream will last till it's gone.
Okay.
Most people used to figure at Baskin-Robbins the calculation was 10 days. But times have changed. They were 32, 33 flavors. We've now cut that down to about 15 flavors. It was too much choice, too much overlap, and it slowed the line down. By having a limited number of flavors and bringing in a special of the week, everything sells. But if you had to have a general rule, in the dipping cabinet 10 days, in the tempering cabinet 30 days, and in the hardening cabinet 6 months. But again, if it's not moving, it's a wrong flavor. I make a coffee banana ice cream. If it wasn't for me, it would sit here for 2.5 years because everybody thinks it's a horrible flavor. The bananas are fighting with the coffee for world dominance. I love it, and that's why I make it, because I know that when it's in that freezer, it's all mine. Anytime I want to bring home some coffee banana, it's there waiting for me. But that's not the way to run a business. You have to be attuned to what your customers are saying, and even if they don't say anything, the fact that it doesn't rotate out is you think it's a great flavor. They think it's terrible. And you got to go by their opinion because we're in here to make money.
We have I run a 2-day class, and the night after the first day, I tell everybody, go home, think of an ice cream. And if it's good, we'll make it tomorrow. So this past class, we had no, yes. Because a lot of people, bacon ice cream, and what's the floral one?
Beer.
Lavender ice cream, and rose hips, and chai tea. I know that ain't going to fly in my store. It's just not going to work. But somebody suggested a flavor that did work. We made it, right? Yes, we made it, and it was really good. And it was peanut butter Nutella. Whoa. So we checked out how to make it, and we decided on 40 ounces of peanut butter and 100 ounces of Nutella with the mix. And that's it. And it was pretty damn good. And we have it now. Tonight we'll be selling it in the store. And it's called Zack Attack, because the guy who did it was Zach. So you get some flavors from the class.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I made a good one last year. We called it NYPD. Paula's father was a New York City police officer. So what are cops known for?
Donuts.
Donuts and coffee. So I made donuts and coffee ice cream. And I told people, I said, here's the formula. You know, if you're in Los Angeles, call it LAPD. If you're in Palm Beach, call it PBIPD. You know, you take the name, but it always gets a laugh, and it's a great flavor. So Jeff taught me this. I used to buy everything in, I don't even want to show them, big cans like this. It's called a number 10 tin. And up until 10 years ago, when I started working with Jeff, my idea of strawberry ice cream was to open up a number 10 tin, which was the crummiest, lowest grade strawberries you could possibly buy that they couldn't sell anywhere else. And they threw it in with red dye 40 and corn syrup. And we would ladle that out and put it in the machine and call that strawberry ice cream. And then a funny thing happened. 85 million millennials came along, and they said, we're not going for this. My daughter, my 5-year-old here, is not having red dye 40. And these
corn
strawberries,
syrup.
and the corn syrup, and these strawberries taste awful. And we found out that we could raise the price of ice cream sufficiently to where we could use all fresh ingredients. When I make ice cream, Jeff goes walking, you know, he looks like some crazy. He's walking up and down the aisles mumbling to himself at Publix, coming up with new ideas. That's how he came up with his key lime pie ice cream. And I do the same thing now. I go to the supermarket and I see, okay, what's in season? And that's what I'll turn into an ice cream or a sorbet. And it's just great fun. But the quality of ice cream's gone way up. And pint sales, Haagen-Dazs is $5.13 at Publix. My customers are getting $7, $8, $9. And I always tell people, I teach at Penn State, and I asked the head of Penn State Dairy School, I said, why do my two customers, Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry, why do they only sell in pints? He said, because you'll buy one pint at $7, but you won't buy a quart
or a half gallon for
$28.
$25.
You won't do it. It's too much money. So we sell in pints.
And now, do you notice Haagen-Dazs has the little ones?
yes.
They sell the half pints.
We've been talking about half pints for 6 months now, because you've got a store. Let's say you're Starbucks, and a lot of people go out at lunchtime and they buy a coffee to take back to their desk. They're not gone very long. Well, what if they sold half pints of ice cream? If you buy a pint and bring it back to your desk, you look gluttonous. I don't care how skinny you are. They go, oh, look at him, he's eating a whole pint of ice cream. But a half pint looks smaller, and we could sell it for 2 half pints would equal more than the cost of the pint. And you're going home, and I'm going to pick up some mint chip for myself, and I better not show up at home if I don't bring Paula some coconut. Because, so you buy 2. You can't just say, hey, I bought this for myself. You bring home 2 pints, you spend $14. It's pure profit. And the other part of this that I have done with stores is if you go into Culver's, who we put into business years ago, you will see that they have a visual display, a small cabinet filled with pints, frozen down, very cold. And you go in, you grab a couple of pints, and you take them over the counter, you pay for them, and you leave. So I said, let's do a version of that. So mine's based on Florida. It's 100 degrees out. My golden retriever's in the back seat. I leave the engine on and running because I know I'm going to walk into the store. I'm only going to be there 45 seconds. There is this takeout vertical counter filled with pints. And there's and here's a cash register, and there's nobody there. I grab my 2 pints, I put them on the cash register. The server's over here. And he says to the line who's getting whatever, excuse me 1 second, I'll be right back. Comes over here, does it like Starbucks. You want a receipt? No. You want a bag? No. Slip your card in. Slip your card in. I grab my 2 pints. 45 seconds later, I'm back in my car driving home, and I've got dessert for Paula and me. And I didn't care what the price was. It was that I could get in and out quickly. I didn't have to go into the supermarket here and wait online to pick up 2 pints, which aren't very cold, and take them home. I'm grabbing them super cold, and I'll temper them up in my own freezer. It's just a huge win-win, and the millennials are driving that too. Pints have become like craft beer. Beer used to be a drink, a beverage. You had a beer. Not anymore. Now you, instead of a $6.50 6-pack of Bud Light, you buy an $18 6-pack of Wicked Mountain Blue Lagoon locally sourced beer. It's a reward for a good week. Hey, I was a good person. I got a trophy reward, and here it is, my 6-pack, and I get a beer. And there are 75 million baby boomers. There's 82 million millennials. And the millennials are going to be around a hell of a lot longer than us baby boomers. So they're your
How
market.
much time have I got?
Yes. Oh, you got forever. What's only the good die young? Yes.
Culver's is a very successful operation, and I understand the sizzle is that you can watch the custard, the frozen custard, come out of the machine, so it looks fresh and everything looks great. Does frozen, can you freeze custard and gelato? Does it freeze as well as ice cream?
Yes, they do. In fact, I was the first one to do it. The Italians came over here and they said, well, you have to make your ice cream fresh every day. Well, that's nice, except in Italy, I'm walking through Florence, it's 9:30 in the morning, and I walk in and I get a tiramisu, or I want a tiramisu. I'm sorry, we ran out. And I shrug my shoulders, so what? Because there's another gelateria a block and a half away. I'll get my tiramisu there. There's no brand loyalty. So they're making small batches until they run out. Here in the United States, you can't run out of a flavor. If you advertise mint chip, you better darn well have mint chip. So the gelato people, when it first hit these stores in San Francisco, were making tiramisu, and it didn't all sell because we don't eat as much gelato, and they had to throw it out. Imagine if I'm building a lot of machines, more than anybody. What if I bought a sheet of stainless steel a day, or a truckload of stainless steel a day, and at the end of the day I didn't use it all? Do I throw it away? No, I have an inventory. Americans are based on inventory. So we can take any product, flash freeze it, and keep it just fine. And that's what we do. The Italians, it's their modus operandi, and it works fine for them. Hardening cabinet, flash freezer, blast freezer, they're all the same thing. Or you can use a chest freezer when you're just starting out. It's all based on volume. If you were going to start a moving company, you might start with a Ford Econoline van, but eventually you're going to get up to tractor trailers.
What happened?
It got quiet. You
Is
didn't
it still
turn
running? I didn't touch it.
You did.
So no half off.
No, you froze
No,
it up.
Really?
You touched it. You touched it.
How many 5-gallon fillers can you do?
You can do 2 tubs every 8 minutes, so give it time to load and unload. That's about 30 gallons an hour, times as many hours as you want to work. It will go on forever. You'll be exhausted. But here's a way to double your production, and I think people should do this. There's 3 groups of people who, in my experience, especially because of my wife, who are always looking for a second job. Policemen and firemen always have second jobs. Up in New York, it's gardening and landscaping. In Florida here, it seems to be fencing. Every policeman or fireman has a second job doing fencing. And I include the military, who have just rolled out of the military, highly qualified, well-trained. These are 3 groups of people who look at a job, not like my guys back up in New York, like, oh, we got to go work at Emery Thompson for 8 hours today. What a drag. You hire someone of that caliber to come in at 11 o'clock tonight, and they look at it as it's a mission. My mission tonight is to make 70 gallons of ice cream for the owner. And he hands me my the file card, which I'm not worried about him stealing the recipes as the owner, because I got them off of Steve's website and then just tweaked them myself. You hand that to him and say, hey, I'm going to bed. And you go home and let them make ice cream. Who better to lock up your building than a policeman or a fireman or a military? Give them the key. Let them lock it up. You come in, and it's all done. And I didn't make up this idea. Harry Coley is a custard business in Texas, Dallas, Texas. And his son loved baseball, and work was interfering with him watching baseball. So his father said, fine, you come in at 11 o'clock and work till 6 a.m. making ice cream. Well, he trusted his son to keep the business open. So unfortunately, instead of buying a second machine from me, just find a qualified person. When I was young and stupid, I used to say, and raising children, I used to say, oh, let's hire mothers. Because they're not doing anything. That would get me killed today. And they had from 9 in the morning when they dropped off the kids till 3 in the afternoon, and they're going to be great. They can come in and make ice cream. They can work in the store. Well, I forgot one little thing I learned real fast. Kids get sick. They get the flu. They get everything that exists, and then they give it to the parents. So it wasn't a viable workforce.
Your old containers don't fit my
the new
lids.
ones?
Yeah.
That's okay. There you go.
No, these are your old ones here, I think.
Okay.
And
Are we
they
going
don't-
to try this?
Oh, you want to try this?
Yeah, well, come on out.
Okay, ready to roll.
Are you listening in? How do you know to come in?
Okay.
I gotta go get my marker.
All right.
Is that gonna be enough to feed everyone?
I don't know. I got a little more over here. We'll see. I think this is extraordinary.
Thank you.
I know Mike, right? Mike?
Well, sure.
And Paula,
I always do.
and Olga, and Christy, and Crystal.
This is Frankenstein.
Frankenstein. Ooh.
Does anybody want to take a break, or should we keep going? We'll keep going.
What are you listening to him for?
One of us got so busy talking his head off that we burned up some time. And I don't think it was Jeff.
No, we're buying is the one he's using. 24. Thank you.
So if anyone out there is interested in this fantastic new tray to put on your machine, we can adapt it to machines built from 1959 through today. And just call our parts department, Crystal and Christy, and they'll help you out.
We glue it down on it?
No, we leave it so that you can take
What?
it off and
No,
wash
not
it.
yet. You're not.
Oh, it's
I know,
the heaviest
not
beams
yet.
that we use on the machines. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was panicking.
Okay.
Only a little. We do.